My name is Milica Virag, and I was born in Belgrade, Yugoslavia. And I drive a truck. I've been doing it for 8 years. I decided to go into truck driving to make a living and to pay my bills. My husband passed away, and I was on my own taking care of 3 teenage children, and I worked in the office, Blue Cross and Blue Shield, for 6 years there, and then they let me go. But because I am stubborn and I'm not a quitter, I always find a way to make it work. And I looked at the classifieds to see what's available. Driving jobs, there was like oodles of offers. So I thought, well, why not do truck driving? I never thought of myself, going and learning how to be a truck driver or doing that as a job at all. I'm 58, and I don't think that that's very old. I don't feel that old.
She's tried her hand at a lot of things. I think when I was a baby, they owned a dry cleaners. She worked for the newspaper. They had an ice cream shop when we were kids. Her and my dad had an ice cream and sub shops together for a couple years. She got her paralegal. She was a licensed real estate agent for a while. She sold Avon. She worked for an insurance company. But I think that she's finally found her path. With this trucking thing. It seems to make her happy, even though it's very difficult. She has her good days and her bad days.
As a driver, first of all, when you get hired on by a carrier or a company, you have to follow their rules and their policies. That's number one. And then you have to deal with everything that every other driver deals with, picking up and delivering the load, which is foremost.
But this particular broker told me that the load was mine and I can have it. Tuesday I call him and I say, where is it? Did you send it to the wrong place? And he said, oh, I'm not in the office. When I get in the office, I will send it to you.
And I waited until 4 o'clock to get there. And then I find out last minute that I don't have a load, and it's Friday, and I want to go to Austin because it's Thanksgiving holiday.
And then I tell him, listen, I'm just going to have to look for another load,
Yeah, a certain amount of aggressiveness is expected in the Serbian culture, and that's just common. Even when you're talking with your friends or, with your family, they give you a hard time if you don't do things to the best of your ability.
When I was forced into finding another position, I thought to myself, well, why not? My children are out of the house. I don't have to be there for them all the time. Yes, let's go and do it. It was 3 weeks long school. And then after that, you have to go to DMV to take a CDL test. And after you get your CDL, which is commercial driver's license, of course, Class A, you go and get a job as a truck driver. I started 2 years driving a van, and then I drove a tanker operation where I pulled chemicals for quality carriers, and then I pulled flatbed for CRST. And that's when I bought my trailer, and then I went into and got my own authority and started doing my own business, driving a truck and hauling freight all over the USA. This is the truck that I bought 2008. The truck itself has a raised bed, which is 4 inches, so that you can pull tankers with it. And that was a problem when I was pulling a box, because I was usually 2 or 3 inches taller. That was a really scary part when I come to the bridge that says 13 feet and 6 inches. And I have to get out and see if I can go under it, because I was 2 or 3 inches taller than that. But good part about it is these places are up in North England, and places where they account for the snow layer as well. Driving a tanker has made me a better driver, because you have to gauge where you're at and make sure that your speed matches the momentum. And because of that fluid that you're carrying, if you stop too suddenly or move too suddenly or take the turns too quickly,
that fluid moves faster than your truck because it's a lighter viscosity and it has a greater inertia to pull you forward or to pull you sideways. And so, I mean, I always had to like adjust my driving to what I'm carrying in the back in that tanker.
My step deck can carry up to 47,000 pounds. I usually try not to load it full because the less freight you carry, the better of fuel mileage it can be. I like the way it runs when it is heavier. Fully loaded would be 47,000 pounds. In addition to when I don't have any freight on my step deck, my tractor and the trailer weigh 33,000 pounds. I have another set of wheels that's on the back of my truck. Of course, I can't haul stuff with it, but it'll get me maybe to the gas station if I need 2 gallons of fuel. This is a binder. This actually tightens the chain so it will keep the load secure to the deck. These are the chains. These are 10,000 pound chains. I take the chains and the binders out and I put them around the load. You see this? This is supposed to be tighter. I'm supposed to check it out. But since this weight is really not going anywhere, I don't even need this. It'll go to the moon like that. But anyways, if the DOT stopped me and he saw that, I would be in violation. So I need to tighten it, and this is the way you tighten it. What it does is pulls the chain from here to there, and it keeps it tight so it keeps this load on my deck. Whoa, is this the lumber yard? I think I'm in the wrong place. I need to pick up some lumber at Elliott's sawmill.
Yes, ma'am. What is your name, please?
Milica Virag. I'm with Milica Transport right there. They should have really put me on a scale to know how much to load me. And you know it, I'm gonna go on a scale. Make sure that I'm legal. The only thing I'm going to do now is just enter the time that I arrived here, and I'll put it in to where right now, 11:15, I'll go down to the line where I'm on duty, not driving. I'm being loaded because I'm waiting. I have this thing. This is for my bills of lading. Once I get bills of lading, that's where that's going to go. And that's be my shipping papers. I'll keep the shipping papers until I get unloaded, and they'll sign it, and then that paperwork has to be scanned and sent to the company that will pay me. There's a flatbed, see, like back there, and every place is different. So every place you kind of like have to play by ear a lot of times. And there is a truck being loaded there, so, and there's a truck waiting, so. I suppose that's where I'm supposed to go. Okay. I wonder if I can do 2 at a time. Now, see what I mean? Shit happens. They put on these bundles of 2x6s, and they were stacks, and they were bundles, and they were tied. And I strapped them down. I tried to get it as tightly as possible, and I did. These boards are nicely smoothed out. They're sanded down so they're slick. So when I went down the road, I noticed that my load shifted. It banged on the back, and I pulled over to the side of the road. When I went out there, I saw some boards on the ground, and also the boards were all against the back of my trailer. I called the broker and I called the company where I got loaded, and I told him I'm not very far from you. I was like maybe 4 or 5 miles down the road, and I told him what happened, and I asked him, what they wanted me to do about it because I can't move. They sent 3 guys in a little pickup truck, and then the guys came and they went up there and they banged on the boards and they pushed them and put them back where they were supposed to. And again, the load shifted when I was about to come to the receivers. Well, the guys were saying, oh, well, you're not the only one that had that problem with this slickness of the boards and load shifting.
I broke down on the side of the road. I got 447 miles to go. That's what it is.
My favorite radio shows are on Channel 7, which is like 70s music, 80s music. Sometimes I listen to like Coffee House, and then there's few business radio shows that are on NPR that I listen to. The Kevin Rutherford show is also a call-in show, not only a live show, but people, truck drivers, if they have any kind of questions or, concerns, they would call in and ask Kevin Rutherford a question. There was one time I called in when my truck was acting up. I was climbing the hill and I was seeing the smoke coming on my truck. And what happened at that time, it was that radiator broke for some reason. I have been stranded a couple of times, but it was never that I couldn't get someone to the location to have me, to do something. There was one time I was in Nevada, in the middle of nowhere. I was getting some ore from the copper mines, and I was climbing a hill. A guy had to come in from a town that was like maybe 100 miles away. Oh yeah, I didn't have a belt, he didn't have a belt. I had to go to his shop to get the belt because he had it back ordered, whatever. And I had to drive real slow because my engine was overheating, and I had to stop every once in a while to let it cool down. Walmart is just such a big institution, almost like a religion. It's like a temple. It's the only store that has a big enough parking where my truck can, pull in and have someplace where to park. And they also build their stores close to the highways. And they have an app where you can find them anywhere, you go. And they're everywhere. There was one time I parked my truck there for about a week, but I was spending some time down in Charleston. At that time I did talk to the manager there, and I told him that my truck was parked there and if he'd be all right. He said no problem. He'll even come out and take a look and make sure it's all right. Oh, well, I shop at Walmart's all the time because that's where I get most of my groceries. So yes, I would spend a lot of money at Walmart's, anywhere from $30 to $150 at times. I just hope that Walmart's will continue to, let trucks park there. Petras and TAs would charge to park some places, but they usually give you 2 hours grace period, and then after 2 hours, if you're staying overnight, they would charge you if you don't buy anything like $20 worth of food or merchandise at their store. And there are some places where the parking is really scarce, and then they will charge for parking. The hours of operation require you to drive 11 hours. You can't drive more than 11 hours in a day. Then you have to take 10-hour rest period. The new rule that came about a year ago is that you have to have 30-minute break time within those 11 hours, and it has to come before 8 hours is up. The rate that I would like to get is consistent rate for the time that I put in and the work that I do, but it doesn't work that way. The rate is all over the place. But the rate fluctuates with economies and demand and supplies, and you have no control over that. I don't think anybody does. But in my operation, what I have figured out, and I should be getting certain rate, like $2.35, in order for me to really pay my bills, to have enough for fuel and maintenance, and to think about, putting away for vacation and savings and retirement and taxes. That should be a fair rate, okay? But in life, what is fair? So is trucking putting me in a good financial situation? I'm in okay situation, but I wish I was in better situation sooner. As a woman truck driver, yes, there are differences in the way I would be treated, either by the shipper, receiver, broker, whoever it is. They would say, oh, you can really back into that door really well, or, oh, wow, a woman in a trucking, that's very unusual. You go, girl, it's good that you're doing this. Woman in trucking has started around the time that I just got in, maybe a year later. We're just like maybe 1 to 5% of overall truck driving population. As a female driver, I haven't encountered obstacles for myself at all. However, I have heard the female drivers that came before me, they had a rougher time. People ask me, aren't you lonely, or are you in any danger? It is a job and you have to take precautions and be safe out there.
I've also heard of lot lizards where people will come to your truck and knock on a door, and that has happened to me, where women would come on my door and knock and want, do you want company? And I'm like, no, I'm fine.
I met a lot of people on the road, met a lot of guys. We would go out in a restaurant, or I did some crazy things that I'm not too proud of.
Well, one thing I really like about trucking is that I could come into my office as I wake up and I'm driving. I mean, if I'm gonna drive and get stuck in the traffic for hours on end, might as well just do this job and do it. And that's one thing I like. And waking up in the morning and seeing the sunrise, being able to go to different parts of the country. And even this lifestyle of camping out, kind of staying in a truck and being self-sufficient, being independent. Those are the good parts, and that's what, I like about trucking.
I find now my office has a window and I can see outside of it, and every day it changes. And that's a positive thing that keeps me actually being a truck driver.
Ran my knapsack through my axle back. Walking down the road, I ain't leaving no trash. That's what it is. It's the ride south on I-85. The closer I get, the more that drink comes alive.